The movie begins in a dark, dense forest where a young woman runs barefoot, screaming for her life. Her name is Emma Ward, an artist desperately trying to escape. As she flees, she steps on sharp glass shards, wincing in pain, but bravely pulling one out and continuing forward. However, just as she reaches the roadside, a hidden trap ensnares her, leaving her suspended midair as she cries out for help. Clutching the glass shard, she carves Emma alive into the bark of a tree before the scene fades out. The story shifts to Betty and an unnamed man, referred to only as the driver, as they travel across the country. Betty is visibly frustrated with their constant movement and blames the driver for their situation, while he tries to lighten the mood. As night falls, they decide to rest and check into a roadside motel. The driver hands over his credit card to the receptionist, who finds his name peculiar but doesn't question it further. Later, in their motel room, the couple watches the news and sees a report on Emma, the missing girl. Investigators have discovered her carving on the tree, estimating it to be around 6 months old. During this scene, Betty's abdominal scar is revealed, and the driver apologizes to her. The focus shifts to a group of criminals led by Hogg, breaking into an affluent family's home. The gang consists of Hogg's brother, Ethan, his girlfriend Tamara, a reckless member named Flynn, and Denny. Flynn, though mostly useless, remains with the gang because he is dating Hogg's daughter, Amber. As they ransack the house, the owners unexpectedly return. Their joy turns to horror upon discovering the intruders. The father attempts to call 911, but before he can, Flynn recklessly opens fire, killing the entire family. Hogg, furious over the unnecessary bloodshed, scolds Flynn, knowing the gunshots might alert authorities. Back at the motel, the driver invites Betty to dinner while she lounges in bed. Annoyed, Betty sarcastically tells him to ask one of his other girlfriends instead. Despite her mood, they later head to a nearby diner adjacent to a gas station. Inside, Amber, Hogg's daughter, serves them. Moments later, Hogg and his gang arrive. Flynn, unable to resist causing trouble, notices Betty and approaches her table, ignoring her clear discomfort. Betty warns her boyfriend to ignore him, but when Flynn persists, she firmly tells him to back off. Enraged by the rejection, Flynn grows aggressive, nearly escalating into a physical altercation. Before things spiral further, Hogg intervenes, reprimanding Flynn and warning him not to cause trouble where they eat. However, the couple's troubles are far from over. As they drive back to the motel, Flynn smashes their car's windshield, causing the driver to lose control and crash. Flynn steals their vehicle, assuming they possess valuables. Believing he can extract banking details from the driver, he tries to convince Hogg and Ethan to join his scheme. Hogg, fed up with Flynn's reckless behavior, threatens to kill him if he makes another mistake. When Betty and the driver regain consciousness, they find themselves tied to chairs in the gas station's storage room. Ethan enters, pressing a blade to Betty's throat, threatening to kill her. However, rather than pleading for her life, Betty, seemingly exhausted from her life with the driver, coldly tells him they will meet again in the afterlife. She then leans into the blade, ending her own life. The driver, enraged and devastated, fights back, striking Ethan with his shackles, but it is too late. Betty is gone. Meanwhile, Flynn searches the driver's stolen car. Inside, he finds a wallet and unremarkable documents. But when he opens the trunk, he notices 2 holes in the paneling and a pair of eyes staring back at him. Shocked, Flynn and Tamara extract a terrified young woman from the hidden compartment and bring her into the house. As the gang gathers around, the girl panics, screaming at them to run while they still can. She warns them that the car's owner is extremely dangerous and will come for them. The driver, she insists, is not just an ordinary man, he's a monster. Amber suddenly realizes she recognizes the girl from television. The revelation sends shockwaves through the group. She is Emma Ward, the missing artist from the beginning of the film. Emma's case made national headlines when she vanished after 14 of her friends were murdered at a party. The most shocking part? The driver is responsible for the massacre. Making matters worse, the Ward family has placed a $2 million reward for any information leading to Emma's safe return. Just then, Amber receives a call. They can't reach Ethan. Emma grimly states that Ethan is already dead. Denny and Tamara, following Hogg's orders, rush to the gas station to check. When they arrive, they are horrified to find Ethan's lifeless body in a pool of blood, alongside Betty's corpse. The driver, however, is nowhere to be found. Shaken, they load Ethan's body into their van and return to their hideout, unaware of the nightmare still to come. Inside the house, Amber gives Emma some fresh clothes, and it is then that the scars on Emma's body become visible. Shockingly, they match the ones seen on Betty earlier, implying that Betty was another intended victim of the driver. As the realization settles in, Denny and Tamara arrive, devastated by Ethan's death. Hogg, consumed with fury at losing his brother, vows to hunt the driver down at any cost. But the horror is far from over. While Denny and Flynn move Ethan's body to a shed, something horrifying happens. Ethan suddenly twitches, revealing a disturbing truth. Before anyone can react, the driver emerges from Ethan's corpse, covered in blood. Emma seizes the chaos as an opportunity to escape, but Hogg grabs her before she can flee. As she struggles, she sees the driver standing outside, drenched in blood. Emma, resigned, tells Hogg that she will wait, because soon enough, the driver will kill them all. The driver, now fully prepared, changes into clean clothes and gathers his weapons. Outside, Hogg and his crew search for him, but before they can act, a steel arrow pierces Hogg's chest. Chaos erupts as the driver's preset traps injure Denny, sending Flynn and Tamara into a blind panic. Flynn, overwhelmed, fires wildly, but their efforts are futile. Denny, bleeding out, panics as Tamara and Flynn argue over whether to get him medical attention. Just as the situation reaches its breaking point, the driver detonates their van, leaving them with no way to escape. With the battlefield set, the driver moves in for the final confrontation. One by one, he eliminates the gang members, methodically picking them off. As the dust settles, he finally captures Hogg, his primary target. But his vengeance is far from over. With cold, calculated precision, he drags Hogg toward an industrial meat grinder. As Hogg screams in agony, the driver leans in, whispering one final chilling truth. He is not merely a serial killer. He is something far worse, a predator who thrives on killing in groups. Then, without hesitation, he pushes Hogg into the grinder, ending his reign of terror with a horrifying finality. The driver forces Hogg into the grinding machine, killing him. Back home, Amber questions Emma about why she is the only one still alive, to which Emma responds that the driver may have fallen in love with her. A flashback depicts the driver locking himself in a room with Emma, where he requests her to save his life. After telling her this, he shows her how to do it before severing an artery in his neck. Emma later reveals that she was the one who saved him. After the vehicle explodes and Hogg dies, Amber and Tamara engage in a brawl. However, before the conflict escalates, someone knocks on the door, compelling the gang to investigate. As they step outside, they see a sack hanging. Flynn looks closer and realizes Hogg's ring is attached to the bag. Enraged, he kicks it, causing Hogg's bits of flesh to fall to the ground, terrifying everyone. Denny and Amber prepare to flee in a broken Jeep from their garage. They manage to get inside, but when they try to start the engine, it malfunctions, prompting Denny to step out and fix it. Just as he finishes, the driver unexpectedly arrives and launches a brutal attack on him. Terrified, Amber flees into the woods, but the maniac chases her down and stabs her. Flynn and Tamara, hearing Amber's screams, decide to leave. Tamara rushes to help Denny, realizing he is still alive, and they bring him along as they drive away. Later, while speeding down the road, Flynn accidentally hits Amber, killing her instantly. They drop Denny off at the hospital's front gate and continue their escape. The gang chooses to stop for the night and arrives at a highway motel. The receptionist grows suspicious when Flynn uses the driver's credit card to pay and alerts the sheriff about the potentially unlawful activity. Later, while Tamara showers, Flynn begins harassing Emma. Sensing the tension, Emma excuses herself and heads to the restroom. Tamara steps in, handing Emma her gun for protection. Just then, Flynn barges into the restroom and forcibly drags Emma out. At that critical moment, the sheriff arrives at the motel, confronting Flynn and demanding proof of identity. In a shocking turn of events, Flynn shoots the sheriff dead with a single shot. Meanwhile, the driver bursts into the restroom and coldly kills Tamara. Upon discovering Tamara's lifeless body, panic surges through Emma, compelling her to flee. Flynn chases after her, but the driver, now in the sheriff's car, collides with him, sending him sprawling to the ground. Desperate, Emma fires at the driver, but as victory seems within reach, she runs out of ammunition. With no other options, she realizes she must run for her life. However, the driver relentlessly pursues her, urging her to surrender. But Emma, driven by survival instinct, fights back with a metal pipe. Just then, Flynn bursts onto the scene, shotgun in hand, and fires. In a split second, the driver yanks Emma out of harm's way, taking the bullet himself. Miraculously, he survives, shielded by his bulletproof vest. A brutal hand-to-hand combat ensues, both men desperate to win. As Flynn prepares to take aim at the driver, Emma seizes the moment, knocks him down, and snatches the shotgun. She insists that she will be the one to kill the driver. Her pulse races as she takes aim, but she fails to insert a fresh bullet into the shotgun. Impressed by her boldness, the driver approaches and informs Emma that she is now free. He then grabs a knife and slices through her stomach, removing a tracker that had been used to follow her throughout the film. Emma lies hopelessly on the road as the driver raises his gun and kills Flynn. Unfortunately, the receptionist witnesses everything, leaving the driver with no choice but to eliminate her as well. The next day, the driver sets off for his final destination, the hospital where Denny is receiving treatment. Armed with a clipboard, he approaches Denny and ends his life, whispering ominously, "No one lives," marking the end of Hogg's team. Meanwhile, a news report reveals that Hogg's group had been holding Emma captive all along. As the driver watches the hospital staff transport Emma on a stretcher, he feels a moment of connection. Before leaving, he gently strokes her hand, and at this poignant moment, the film comes to a close. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.